Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Look up at the sky over America. It is changing. It is becoming quiet. There are not as many airplanes flying high above the country as there used to be just a short time ago. This is a new and surprising change for many people. The airline business all over the world is facing very big problems now. They are losing a lot of money this year. Experts say that the total loss could reach $84 billion. This is a shocking and huge amount of money for the industry to lose. This very large number shows the situation is extremely serious. It sets a bad and difficult tone for the future of global travel. The year is 2025. This big crisis for flying to America began because of new rules put in place. These new rules were about trade with other countries around the world. They made buying things from other countries more expensive with extra costs. This also made things much harder and more costly for businesses, including airlines that fly across borders. Because of these new trade rules and higher costs, airlines from other countries are finding it very difficult to continue flying to America. It has become too expensive or too complicated for them to operate flights here and make money. As a result, they are deciding to stop their routes. We see foreign airlines vanishing one by one. One airline stops flying to one American city, and then another airline stops flying to a different city. This quiet leaving is happening at airports across the country. This growing quietness in the American sky makes many people stop and ask questions. What exactly is happening to air travel here? Why are the planes from other countries going away like this? What does this mean for America's connection to the rest of the world? America was once a place that was very connected by air travel to everywhere. Now, those important connections are becoming weaker and weaker. This story will look at this big change in the skies and try to explain what it means for everyone. 2. Airlines leave America. Foreign airlines are truly leaving America. This marks a significant change for air travel to and from the United States. Several well-known international airlines are stopping or greatly reducing their flights, showing a clear retreat from the U.S. market. Play Airlines, which is based in Iceland, is a major example. After building its business in the U.S. for some years, it has now stopped all operations nationwide. This means Play Airlines no longer flies any routes to America at all. As a result, they are deciding to stop their routes. We see foreign airlines vanishing one by one. One airline stops flying to one American city, and then another airline stops flying to a different city. This quiet leaving is happening at airports across the country. This growing quietness in the American sky makes many people stop and ask questions. What exactly is happening to air travel here? Why are the planes from other countries going away like this? What does this mean for America's connection to the rest of the world? America was once a place that was very connected by air travel to everywhere. Now, those important connections are becoming weaker and weaker. This story will look at this big change in the skies and try to explain what it means for everyone. Flights that connected cities like Boston, Baltimore, and Stewart in the New York area are gone forever. These were routes that the airline had planned for a long time, seeing the U.S. as an important market, but they are now completely stopped. Air Canada is also making deep cuts to its flights to the U.S. It has cut 5 important routes that crossed the border. It also stopped flying to 8 smaller regional airports across the United States. These airports were in cities that are important links between the U.S. and Canada, like Detroit, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Nashville, and Tampa. These flights were vital for travel and business, but Air Canada has decided to leave these cities, affecting many travelers. Numbers show how many fewer flights there are now. Data from companies that study air travel clearly shows the reduction. More than 320,000 seats were removed from flights between Canada and the U.S. in the first 10 months of 2025 alone. This very large number shows a big, lasting change in the U.S.-Canada air corridor. It is a clear sign that international airlines are pulling back many flights from American routes. Small and medium airports feel the effects most strongly. Stewart International Airport in New York is a sad example of this. It once aimed to be a growing hub for international travel, and money was invested in expanding it. But now it has lost its last flight going overseas. The areas in the airport for people arriving from other countries are empty and unused. The terminal building, built especially for international flights, sits quiet. This shows the physical result of airlines leaving these places. This quiet leaving of airlines is a big problem for air travel in the United States. It shows a major change in how international airlines see the U.S. market. They are choosing to go to other places in the world instead of America. This means less connection between America and other countries is happening now. 3. Cities lose money. American cities are now facing a difficult situation. They are losing a significant amount of money because international airlines have stopped flying to them. This problem is felt strongly in cities like Buffalo, Seattle, and Tampa. These cities were once popular destinations for tourists from other countries. These global visitors spent money supporting local businesses and jobs. However, with fewer international flights arriving, the number of tourists has dropped dramatically. Hotels in these cities report that bookings have decreased greatly since the beginning of 2025. Local businesses situated near airports, such as shops and cafes, are struggling. They have seen a large reduction in daily customers. The people who work in transportation are also affected. Taxi drivers, for instance, relied on taking international travelers from the airport to their hotels or other places. Now, with fewer arrivals, their income has fallen sharply. Restaurants in these areas are also experiencing a significant decline in revenue. The local economies that once depended heavily on money brought in by people from overseas are facing hard times. Across the entire country, the impact is serious. Estimates from the U.S. Travel Association show that the United States is expected to lose approximately $8.5 billion in tourism revenue during 2025. This large sum highlights the deep negative effect on economies in many different cities that were gateways for global visitors. Cities had made big investments in their airports. They expanded terminals and improved facilities, expecting more international traffic. But now, parts of these airports are empty and quiet. For example, at Tampa International Airport, several gates that were used for international flights have been unused for months. Local officials recognize that activity at the terminal has decreased so much that it might take many years to get the number of passengers back up. Stewart International Airport in New York is another clear example. It lost its last international flight route. This means the airport is no longer an international entry point. The customs area is empty, and the infrastructure built for travelers from other countries is not being used. Businesses around this airport, including places that rent cars and hotels, have started to reduce their operations. The way these businesses made money relied on the airport being a busy international hub, which is now not happening. Losing international flights is more than just about planes. It directly harms the network of businesses and jobs that supported these flights and the tourists they brought. Cities that used to promote themselves to a global audience are finding it difficult. Their plans for economic growth are being slowed down. Even if domestic travel continues, it does not fully replace the money spent by international tourists, who often spend more per visit. This situation shows how important global visitors were for the economies of many places in the United States. The quiet skies mean that less money is coming into these cities, making life harder for many residents and businesses. 4. Why it is expensive. Operating airlines to the United States became very costly. This is the main reason why some foreign airlines stopped flying there. New tariffs or taxes were put on goods coming into the country. These tariffs were 25% on things from Canada and Mexico. They were 20% on things from China. For most other countries, the tariffs were 10%. These taxes made everything more expensive for airlines. The cost of parts for airplanes went up. Maintaining the planes became more costly. Equipment needed for airports and flights also cost more money. So running a route to the United States was no longer cheap. Airlines had to pay much more for the things they needed. At the same time, fewer people wanted to travel to the United States. Demand, or the number of people booking flights, went down sharply. There were several reasons for this lower demand. It was expensive for travelers to visit the U.S. The American dollar was strong, which made buying things in the U.S. more costly for people using other currencies. Getting a visa, permission to enter the country, became more difficult. Also, new rules about who could enter made some travelers stay away. With high costs for operations and fewer travelers buying tickets, airlines did not make enough money on their routes to the U.S. It was not profitable anymore. Big international airlines saw this problem. For example, Lufthansa, a large European airline, started flying less to the United States. Air France, another major airline, did the same thing. They reduced the number of flights because the market was no longer giving them good profits. It made more sense for them to use their planes and people on routes to other countries where they could earn more money. The high costs and low demand made the United States market difficult for foreign airlines. This is why many decided to leave or reduce their flights. 5. Planes go to Asia. Airlines are making big changes. They are not flying to America as much anymore. Instead, they are sending their planes to other parts of the world. This is a long-term plan, not just a short change. Carriers like Turkish Airlines and Emirates are growing fast. But their new flights are not going to the United States. They are starting many new routes to places in Southeast Asia and Africa. They are also flying more to countries in the BRICS group. These include countries like Brazil and India. These places offer new chances for business and tourism for years to come. For example, Turkish Airlines has opened new routes linking cities to Jakarta and Mumbai. Emirates has added more flights to Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. They are building new connections in these areas. Chinese airlines have also changed their plans greatly. They cut flights to U.S. cities by almost 20% since the start of the year. Instead of cities like Los Angeles or Chicago, they are adding more flights to places like Bangkok and Nairobi. Cities in Asia and Africa are getting more direct connections from China. This follows China buying fewer U.S. planes and making ties with other economies. Why are airlines doing this? There are important reasons. First, these new markets have more people who want to travel. This means more passengers and more money for the airlines over time. They see stronger demand. Second, it is cheaper to fly to these places. The costs for airlines operating in America are higher now. Taxes on plane parts, maintenance, and equipment make it expensive to operate U.S. routes. This is because of the tariffs that were put in place. Third, rules and policies in some countries in Asia and Africa are more steady and clear. This helps airlines plan for the future more easily than dealing with changing rules and visa delays in the U.S. Airlines need stability to invest. Because of this, places like Bangkok, Nairobi, Jakarta, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Brazil, and India are seeing more international flights. Airports in these regions are getting busier and are building new capacity. Meanwhile, airports in America are quieter because fewer international planes are arriving. Industry numbers show this clearly. Chinese carriers reduced their U.S. flights by nearly 20% this year. At the same time, Southeast Asia is expected to see a 15% increase in international air travel. Countries like Brazil and India are also seeing a steady rise in inbound flights from airlines in the Middle East and Asia. This shows a big change in where global aviation is going. Airlines look at where they can make the most money and face fewer problems. Right now, they see more growth and lower costs outside of the United States. This major shift means planes are going to Asia and other regions, changing the map of global travel for the long term. 6. The world changes. The world of flying planes is changing fast. For many years, the United States was the most important place for international air travel. American airports were centers for people flying all over the globe. But now, this is starting to look different. Fewer foreign airlines are choosing to fly to America. Instead, they are looking at other parts of the world. Many are flying more to cities in Asia and the Middle East. These places are becoming new main points for global travel. Airlines see better chances to grow in these areas. They also find the costs are lower and the rules are more stable there. For example, big airlines from the Middle East and Turkey are adding many new flights. But these are often to places in Asia, Africa, and South America, not to the U.S. Airlines from China are also cutting back on flights to America and starting new routes to other parts of the world. This shows they are making long-term plans away from the U.S. Airports in places like Singapore and Istanbul are getting ready for many more flights. They are becoming important hubs for global travel. When global air travel moves away from America, it has many results. It means America is not as connected to other countries as before. This makes it harder for the United States to have as much influence in the world. It also makes it harder for people from other countries to come to the U.S. This includes students who want to study at American universities, business people who want to invest money, and tourists who want to visit famous places. When flying to America is harder or costs more, fewer of these people will come. This can hurt America's soft power. Soft power means using culture and ideas to influence others, not just military strength or money. When fewer people visit, it is harder to share American culture and build understanding. International meetings and events that used to happen in America might move to other countries that are easier for people from everywhere to reach. Universities might get fewer applications from foreign students. Museums and cultural festivals might see fewer international visitors. The map of global flying is changing. The routes and connections are moving away from the U.S. New centers for air travel are growing strong in Asia and the Middle East. America was once at the very heart of this global map.
Now it is losing that central position. This change is big. It means America's place in the world is also changing. The movement of airlines is a sign that the world is changing in important ways, and America is less connected than before. 7. What Americans see. The problems are now clear inside America. It is not just foreign planes that are missing. American airlines like Delta and United are also facing difficulties. They worked with many international airlines for years. These foreign partners brought many people to the U.S. When those foreign planes stop coming, the American airlines lose passengers too. Think about how the airline system works. American airlines fly people from the U.S. to other countries. But they also need people flying from other countries to the U.S. This mix of travelers helps fill the planes and helps the airline make money. Without many passengers coming in from other countries, some flight routes become very difficult to manage. They are not profitable anymore. This makes the system inside America unbalanced. American airlines still have costs for things like airplanes and airports. But if they do not have enough passengers from overseas, it is hard to pay these costs. Foreign airlines can just stop flying to the U.S. if it is too expensive. But American airlines must try to continue their business inside the country. They have planes and staff here. Even travel for the American government has gone down. United Airlines reported fewer bookings from the government. This is because the government needs fewer trips across the ocean. This shows the problem is big and affects many parts of American life, not just holidays or business trips. This situation is a serious problem for all airlines in America, big and small. Airports in smaller cities see fewer people. For example, airports like Stewart in New York had their last international flights leave. The rooms for customs are empty now. Businesses near these airports that helped travelers are struggling. Hotels report fewer guests. Shops and taxi drivers near airports feel the change every day. Jobs are lost, like cleaning staff and security people who worked at the international areas. The damage from losing international flights is spreading across the country. It affects jobs and money in many places. Americans see quieter airports. They see empty international gates. They see businesses near the airport struggling or closing. This shows how much America was connected to the world through the sky. Now, that connection is weaker, and Americans see the result. Cities that were known internationally may start to feel less important globally. It is harder for them to get visitors, new businesses, or students from other countries. The quiet in the sky means trouble on the ground, all over the United States. It is now a full crisis for the whole airline industry here and for the cities that depend on it. The problem is widespread and easy for people to see across America. 8. What happens next? The problem of international airlines leaving America is now very clear. It is not a small issue, and it will not go away quickly. The main reason is that it became too expensive for foreign airlines to fly to the United States. High operating costs, partly because of extra taxes on things airlines need, like parts and equipment, made it hard for them to earn money. Also, fewer people are choosing to travel to the United States than before. Because of these difficulties, airlines have decided to send their planes to other places, such as countries in Asia, Africa, and other growing markets. These places offer more chance for business growth and have lower costs for the airlines. This change means America is slowly losing its important place in global air travel. Airports that were once full of people and planes are now much quieter. Many cities that welcomed visitors from other countries are losing a lot of money. It is thought that cities across the country have already lost billions of dollars in tourism income. This problem is not just for foreign airlines. Airlines inside America are also having difficulties because their international partners are leaving. The entire air travel system is becoming unbalanced and weaker. If the current rules and government policies do not change, this situation is likely to get worse in the future. Experts who study air travel believe that many more international flights to the United States will be stopped. Some reports suggest that another 20% of all international flights could disappear soon. If these trends continue, some people worry that in the next 5 to 10 years, the United States might become much less important in the world of aviation. Instead of stopping here, many long international flights might simply fly over the country to reach other continents. To avoid this negative future, America needs to change its policies. The government must find ways to lower the high costs for airlines and make traveling to the U.S. more appealing and easier for people from other countries. This could involve changing the extra taxes or simplifying the rules for visitors. Only by making America a competitive place again can it hope to get back its strong position as a leader in global aviation. With America's skies emptying, do you think the country can ever regain its place as a leader in global aviation?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.